Hello and welcome to this really outstanding episode of Akrinos Access, y'all. I'm your host, Eric Matei, President and CBO of Akrinos, joined by a panel of absolutely amazing people today for really inspired conversation all around Optometry Giving Sight and the World Sight Day Challenge 2024. So if you're a regular viewer of our programming, you've never seen this many people in the studio at once. But we've got a really exciting episode lined up as we're joined by Lois Schoenberg, Executive Director of Optometry Giving Sight, Nikki Eric, who's the Business Development Coordinator of Optometry Giving Sight, and Dr. Steve Rice and two members of his team, Heather and Sydney. Dr. Steve Rice is the principal and founder of Vision Clinic, which is a 5-location practice up in Missouri. And Dr. Rice and his practice have been involved in Optometry Giving Sight since 2007. So as we've got the World Sight Day Challenge on the horizon coming up next month in September, it's an honor to welcome Dr. Rice and his team and the team from OGS to this episode of Akrinos Access. So everyone, hello, welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of Access.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Great opportunity, and thank you for the partnership.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to support. And y'all, we've got a lot of really amazing things to jump into here on this inspired episode all around Optometry Giving Sight and how you and your team can get involved and have an impact on the global need for vision correction. So, we thought that it would be appropriate for us to start with just getting to know Dr. Rice and his backstory and what inspired him to get into giving and supporting Optometry Giving Sight. So, Dr. Rice, if we could maybe kick things off with just sharing a little bit about yourself, your background, your practice, and how you got into working with OGS.
Well, I sure appreciate the opportunity to talk about something we're pretty passionate about. I am the old guy around the Vision Clinic, but I am not a founder. The Vision Clinic started in 1967. So it has been around a long time. I've been a part of the Vision Clinic since 1989. I am the CEO managing partner. And again, I think it's because I'm the old guy floating around. We're very fortunate to be in Southwest Missouri. We've had, like many practices, and I'm sure those that you work with, a lot of growth through the years. Our practice kind of DNA and our heartbeat is truly benevolent. And I think that that's a big part of the reason why we've had so much success. When we turned 50, we had our 50th anniversary, a very big deal in the community. And we said, we want to do something that gives back because we do a lot of that in the community. Optometry Giving Sight is our international charity of choice. But I asked all of our staff, we did a survey and we said, hey, tell us what your top 3 not-for-profits are. And we were going to give everybody money to contribute to, the ones that you choose to do. And when we did that, at the time we had around 50 employees, and it was amazing to see the number of varied not-for-profits that our staff was participating in. So that's just a part of our DNA. We do have 5 locations in Southwest Missouri. We have 13 docs, 85 employees. I have a wonderful wife that truly is a saint. We'll be married 42 years coming up this year. I have a son and a daughter. They are both optometrists. My son married an optometrist, so there are 4 Dr. Rices floating around in the practice, which we're very proud of. I am Papa, so I do have 2 grandchildren. That's pretty dang exciting. If you haven't had an opportunity to experience that, it is the best. So our practice is really on we have always prided ourselves on being on the leading edge, embracing change, starting with what is best for the patient. Patient is our North Star. That's very, very important. And we also ask the question, what's the why? And so when you talk about why did we get so involved in Optometry Giving Sight, essentially 2 things. One, I participated in volunteer optometric services to humanity. for a number of years. I think I did 9 trips down South and Central America, and it's if you haven't done that as a doc, I would highly recommend you do something like that because it's very eye-opening. Like you mentioned earlier, the need worldwide for just stuff we take for granted is so large. And on those trips, you would literally drive an hour from where you were staying on a bus, and there would be people waiting for 2 days in line to get an eye exam and a pair of glasses. And so it was very rewarding to help those, but you also realize that you're putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. And so when Brian Holden came to a group of docs, I'm also a Vision Source administrator and have been for more than 20 years. And when Brian Holden came to us telling us about his vision, what his why was, and why Optometry Giving Sight, that background of what I had done with Vosh, and the saying that we've all heard, right? If you give a man a fish for a day, you feed him. But if you teach him how to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. And that really resonated with me. So I took it back to my doctors, my associates, my staff. They had already known and seen slideshows of some of the Vosh trips that we did. And the rest is history. They jumped in and they have been just, enormous supporters for what we're doing in Optometry Giving Sight.
That's absolutely outstanding, Dr. Rice. I think a couple of things that you touched on there, the least of which is the degree to which you really kind of involve your team in the beginning, right? I mean, you mentioned it where you've always kind of prided the practice on being a benevolent practice, getting involved, supporting those locally, right, as well as globally. So it's really outstanding to hear how you pulled your team into it. And I know we've got a couple members of your team joining us here today. One of whom I think maybe lost the internet signal, but I know we've got Heather Bauer from your team who's here with us. And Heather, I'd love to maybe call on you. So, to kind of put this in context, right? As a team member supporting this within the practice, what inspired you to take lead in helping really push Vision Clinic's support of OGS?
It's not hard to be passionate about something that is doing so much good in the eye care industry. It's a really easy thing to do to ask our vendors for sponsorships or donations or our local businesses to help out with our 5K. We see, all the work we do every day touching so many lives and impacting people's day-to-day quality of life with their vision. So, just supporting OGS is a no-brainer for us. And when the leadership team and our 5K committee are so passionate about, the mission, it's easy to get the rest of our staff involved. I think last year we had the biggest turnout we have ever had as far as staff participation, whether that was volunteering or running and walking the 5K, bringing their family and friends. So it's just really awesome to see everybody rally together to make it so successful. I don't want to speak too soon, but this year is looking to be even better than last year. So I'm super excited.
That's outstanding. Outstanding.
Can I follow up with a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
To either Dr. Rice or Heather, Dr. Rice, you touched on this. What does it mean to your patients that the entire practice is so generous?
I've told people this in the past. I think that we sometimes forget that what we do is very, very meaningful. And in our practice, we create relationships. I mean, we literally see, generations of families, and they know kind of we're there for them. We're taking care of them. We're trying to make their life the best it can be, keep them healthy, etc. And they know that we're fortunate. And when we tell them and give them the opportunity, we tell them, hey, the vast majority of the world's population doesn't have access to eye care. And if you give them the opportunity, they don't know what Optometry Giving Sight is unless they hear it from us, most likely. And so what we found is if you give people the opportunity to participate and to help in a little way, they've embraced it. I think that I think everyone can relate to how important our eyes are and how important vision is. And to think of someone in another part of the world that can't see because they don't have a pair of glasses, that resonates with folks. So it's just like anything else, right? You start with a why, got a little bit of education, and don't underestimate the benevolence of your patient base.
I love hearing that, Lois. What a fitting question, right? Because I think oftentimes, practices are looking and doctors are looking for support at large, right? And internally with the team, right? So Heather, think of what you and the rest of your colleagues around the organization have contributed and get involved, but also so exciting and inspiring, Dr. Rice, to your point, that you never know how much your community and your patients are they themselves eager to get involved and contribute and have an impact until you do what? Until you ask, right? So I would love to now start to unpack some of the ways you guys have gotten involved, right? Because I think it's safe to say, I mean, look, anyone, and by the way, all of our viewers out there, if you have not already, head on over to givingsight.org and learn more and start to build your own plan, right? But it's easy for any one of us to go over to givingsight.org and make a pledge, okay? But, to that end, and Dr. Rice, you said it a little bit ago in reference to different mission trips, it does a lot of good, but it's kind of a one-off, right? So if we're looking to build this support in a sustainable manner, it is imperative that we get all the stakeholders of the practice involved. And I think that's something really impressive that you and your team have led, Dr. Rice. So why don't you share, before we get to the 5K, and I know Heather was referencing the 5K, and I know we probably have viewers out there that's like, wow, they put on a race. But before we get to that, why don't you share some of these, well, heck, when did it all start? Like when you guys were like, hey, we want to support OGS, was it just, hey, everybody in my practice, open up your pocketbooks? Was it put in a little tip jar out front at checkout? Kind of walk us through some of these ways that you have engaged your patients in supporting OGS.
Sure. Well, it has been a journey. I think we started, in 2007, Lois and Nikki tell us. I'm a male, I don't do time. But when we started and we shared the why and everybody said, well, that's really cool, we'd like to help. We just did very, very little. I think we did things like, hey, if you'd like an opportunity on World Sight Day to get your glasses adjusted, if you want to throw a little bit of money in the jar, that'd be awesome. Or jeans day for the staff. If you want to wear jeans on certain days of the year, would ask for $1 or $2 or whatever, and that goes into the kitty. We've done all kinds of things, but the thing I would tell everybody is if you start with the why, and realize that there are, hundreds of things that practices probably give to and participate in the benevolence front, and say this is an international charity of choice, and the little bit of help we can give goes a long way in other places. The other thing I would say is kind of just do it. You can start small and work your way up, but you do have to get buy-in. It doesn't work unless you get everybody to kind of understand what you're trying to get done. The other thing I would say is, and I remember Brian Holden being so passionate about this when he brought it to us, he said it's Optometry Giving Sight. And, sometimes we get overshadowed in the healthcare industry and the great things that we do and the major impact that we have. But in the rest of the world, optometry doesn't exist like we think it does, or maybe certainly it should. So I think that if you really think about what Optometry Giving Sight is doing and expanding the optometry world and family, across the globe, I just don't see, like Heather said, a little bit of a no-brainer to us. And you don't have to do a 5K. And if you'd have told me 10 years ago, we've raised $120,000, I'd say that's not possible. But it's possible because it adds up. And if you start small, it adds up. So
that is.
And Heather could probably give you more things. I know I've taken pies in the face, and they're trying to do a dunk tank. I mean, use the old guy, they will, for $1. So
I love it. Well, let's do that then. Let's build on that. So, but before that, I do want to do kind of want to call out some of those things that you hit that I think is just so important. And number one, Dr. Rice, you've said this a few times here, the importance of the why, right? It starts with the why. It starts with the why in engaging your team, your staff. It starts with the why in engaging your patients. It starts with the why in engaging the broader community at large. So love that. Also, I love some of these simple ideas that you guys have used that have been really impactful, such as what? One of them you mentioned there, Dr. Rice, is on World Sight Day, inviting patients and obviously, marketing this across the community, but on World Sight Day, hey, patient, bring your glasses in for some adjustments, and all proceeds from adjustments are going to go to World Sight Day. Or you're going to go to OGS if you come in for your adjustments on World Sight Day. I mean, that is remarkable. Some other things also, the staff dress down day and other little neat, fun ways to get involved and to raise those funds. And this is where I would like to tap on Heather to share a few more, right? I mean, Dr. Rice, you kind of teased it. We're talking pie in the face. We're talking dunk tank. So Heather, what have been some other things that you and your team there at Vision Clinic have really got behind to help promote the cause?
So as Dr. Rice mentioned, Jeans Day is a big one. Any kind of holiday or maybe Cardinals opening day, or first football game of the season, the NFL opener, we do kind of themed dress days. A lot of staff really love to get, involved in that. And it's easy. We only ask that they donate $1 at minimum. And some staff, are so passionate about it. They've worked here a long time that they'll toss in $5 here or there. Other things we've done is, this past solar eclipse that we had, all of the solar eclipse glasses that we purchased, we sold to our patients for $1 that is directly donated to Optometry Giving Sight. So that's another, easy thing that we did to raise money. We partnered with a few of our local businesses as well, like Panera Bread. We have a local coffee shop that we all really love, and they offer fundraising events. So we reached out to them, told them about our cause, what we do, that we are a private practice in the area, and they, were happy to get on board. And most of those businesses will donate a percentage of their proceeds during a certain time frame to our fundraiser. So that's been, really big for us this year as well.
Love it. Love it. Love
Great
it.
idea.
Yeah, really super far out stuff. So, okay. So, and by the way, y'all, if it looks like I'm getting a little excited, it's because I am, right? Because we've talked about these really cool things that anybody can do. That's really easy, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. But if we want to say, hey, what are some of these easy ways we can get it going? Let's do a themed dress down day. What are some easy ways we can get it going? Maybe pick a day, or better yet, what about you pick one day per month? Maybe it's second Friday of the month is Optometry Giving Sight Day at my practice. All adjustments on that second Friday of the month, proceeds are going to go to OGS, right? Really, really awesome things. But I tell y'all, I'm starting to get the goosebumps because I'm really excited for you guys to share this story of launching a 5K. Because this, and when we put it in context also, and I don't know if other viewers heard it, but, since 2007, when Dr. Rice and the Vision Clinic got involved with Optometry Giving Sight, they've contributed over $120,000. And over time, their 5K, their annual 5K event has become a flagship of their community. So I would love now to jump into that and, call Dr. Rice back up on stage here to kind of share where this vision came from to go from the simple small things like the staff dress down day or the patient donation tray to be like, you know what, we're going to put on an event. So Dr. Rice, where did all this thinking start of putting on a big 5K there in your community?
I think it was just a natural progression of we just kept kind of doing a little bit more and a little bit more and had a little bit more success, and our numbers were going up a little bit. And so, put together a group of the staff that was passionate about kind of wanting to participate. We have lots of little think tanks and committees that work on all kinds of things in the practice. And the person that was heading that up, like I'd mentioned earlier, was also a runner. and we're like, hey, why don't we do, and at the time 5Ks were a really big deal. So we did a 5K and a 1 mile kind of fun walk run. Bring your pups, your family, your strollers, and that you can participate in that as well. And so when we first started, it was like, whoa, there's a lot to it. There are a lot of moving pieces and parts to it. Our main practice is in what they call the medical mile. So we had to have police there to kind of shut down streets that we can run across, and you got to get liability insurance and all kinds of different things. But again, Dr. Rice didn't do a lot of that. The staff did all of the legwork and the hard work. And what's been so cool is, and I think this is something that I would say is kind of an underlying benefit of doing these kinds of things, is that it is very, I think it's a very strong team building exercise. And it's a validation of, hey, we care. And we care not only about our patients, but those that need vision, in the rest of the world. And so it just kind of grew from there. We had an opportunity to go out. I'm sure most docs have lots of friends that own businesses, and give them the opportunity to participate. They're trusting in you telling them, hey, this is a legitimate not-for-profit that is doing, unbelievable work. We've been partnering with them for a long time. We know that they're delivering on what they say they're going to deliver on. And so that gives them a sense of, an assurance that, okay, my money's going to a good cause. And then they know that they're supporting us a little bit. We do a lot in the community, and it gives them an opportunity to kind of help us give back. So yeah, the 5K just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And Heather and Sydney and others through the years have, just done an incredible job. I mean, I think this year we've got a food truck, a coffee truck. I don't know we'll have. Louis is our Springfield Cardinal mascot. He'll be there. So it'll be fun. We've been very fortunate through the years. If we have great weather, it's kind of the beginning of the fall for us. And if we have great weather, I was totally 100% in charge of the weather. If it's not a good weather day, I have something like that. It's like, dang it, Heather.
I love it. Remarkable stuff. Lois, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just going to add
please.
one other thing that Dr. Rice hasn't touched on, which is that I wish I had numbers. I don't. But many of the people who have participated in the 5K in the past continue to support us, whether it's monthly donations, whether it's a donation just for World Sight Day Challenge, but they continue to support us in other ways. So the practice and Dr. Rice's benevolence just grows.
Well, I have a question too. Do the runners do a P2P fundraising page of their own as they participate in the 5K?
Yeah, I'll let Heather speak to that.
Yeah, so we have created a Facebook event talking about the organization that we're raising money for, why we put the 5K on every year. There's always a link on there to do a donation if they'd like to. We have several runners that are repeat year after year. This is our 13th year this year, so super awesome to be doing that. But some of those repeat runners will make a donation the day of the race. Any social media posts that we make on our Instagram, our TikTok, our Facebook, we always add the link to Optometry Giving Sight. So if others feel inclined to go ahead and give, if they can't participate, it's there for that.
We thank you so much.
So it's really great that concept is brought up, right, y'all, because it really kind of lends itself to the facts that there are patients coming in and out of practices every day across the country that want to get involved if they only knew how they could get involved, right? And getting back to something that Dr. Rice said earlier in this conversation here, it starts with the why and just starting somewhere, getting it out there, raising your hand, putting, it can start with something as simple as a placard or a little tip tray of sorts, and evolve from there. So it starts from there, but we should never underestimate. And Heather, I loved hearing you share that, through the 5K, you guys have had now some patients and some runners that are now they themselves regular contributors to Optometry Giving Sight. And that, it all ties back to the strength in numbers, the strength in numbers, and that any contribution is an amazing contribution to the great work that Optometry Giving Sight is doing. I'd like now to shift the conversation into talking about the impacts of philanthropy to the practice, right? Because I think sometimes in business, there's some entrepreneurs that at times may think, well, do I want to ask my customer? Do I want to ask my patient to give a contribution? Is that going to impact my ability to earn money and grow my business? So, Dr. Rice, why don't you share a little bit about, as you've seen now that you guys have been working with Optometry Giving Sight as long as you have, and now your 5K is a regular piece that sounds to me your community almost looks forward to every year, right? The annual Optometry Giving Sight 5K. So why don't you share a little bit about the impact that benevolence and giving to Optometry Giving Sight have had on the bottom line of your practice?
Well, I believe that optometry, is it's a servant heart profession. I really kind of believe that. And I think that if your practice or where you work really embraces the fact that we are in a position to be able to help, we live in communities, we play in communities, we work in communities, that we want the community to be a great place to be. And so we're an important part of that. And I think that it's important that the staff realizes that they do make an impact in, so many people's lives. And they embrace that from the very get-go, that because that is part of our DNA and part of our culture, what we call we believes, then they know that very early on. So I just think, our culture is something that I'm so proud of. And it's something that takes effort and time and resources. But when you get people, as a leader, your job is to cast a vision. And that vision is one that, we're here to have the best experience for our patients. At the end of the day, we're here for them. So you're already, that's part of the DNA, right? But if benevolence and philanthropy, you have to lead by example. But I think you'd be surprised that the people that are in your practice are also very like-minded. And it's very important in our practice that they are like that, because that's why it's a great place to be. That's why patients walk in the door and know that from the very get-go, this is a special place because they care, they participate. We've seen them out in the community doing things. So I just think that is something that can't happen overnight. It's something I think it takes some leadership. And, I truly do wish, just like what you said earlier, if everybody did a little bit, the impact would be just monumental. And I do hear docs, because I've been talking about Optometry Giving Sight for a long time. And it's like, well, we give to so many things. And it's like, I totally get that. And so do we. But it isn't like you have to give $100,000 to this. It's just participate, raise awareness, and do a little bit. Give your patients an opportunity, give your staff an opportunity to contribute a little bit. And it does go a long way. Long-winded answer.
Love it. Absolutely love hearing that. Heather, could we maybe ask you to maybe share a little bit of what you've seen, right? Dr. Rice was mentioning something a moment ago about the role of the team, right? The role of the team, that practice family, getting involved, getting behind it. Could you maybe share a couple of instances as you've seen primarily new associates of the practice, right? How have you seen the new hires of the Vision Clinic embrace getting involved with philanthropy and getting involved with Optometry Giving Sight?
I think it starts from the top. If our leaders and doctors are excited and are really passionate about it, it's easy for our new hires to, get behind that. I don't think I've had any of my new hires, bat an eye when I say, hey, go ahead and donate $1. You can wear jeans today. They're like, oh, this is really awesome. And, come race day, it's our biggest event of the year for fundraising. All of our staff will be out there participating, and they're excited to do it. So it's super awesome to see. And it doesn't really take a lot. Like I said, it just comes from the top down. So if leaders and doctors are all in, our staff follow suit.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Y'all, sometimes this happens, and I hate it when this happens. When I look up at the clock here on the episode, it's like, wow, we've been going at it for a good bit of time. But I think as we kind of now start to wrap things up, I'd love to shift gears into Dr. Rice and then Heather, maybe sharing where to start, right? Because obviously, look, what you guys have done, Dr. Rice, what you and your doctors have grown and built over the years at Vision Clinic and your giving to Optometry Giving Sight is tremendously inspiring. And I think in this episode, we've inspired a lot of people to get involved. But the question always ties back to where to start. So maybe Dr. Rice, if you can just share a couple of really simple things that someone can do to start this year and get involved in World Sight Day Challenge 2024.
Well, I think I'd say contemplate the why in your mind. If it's something that you think makes sense, reach out to Optometry Giving Sight. They have lots of resources. They have lots of ideas and things to help you along. It doesn't have to be anything huge to start. Again, any little bit helps. But I think really the way for me would be to get your staff on board. Maybe share with them Optometry Giving Sight, their mission and some of the things that they have done and are planning on doing. I think just getting that word out, and then like Heather said, the practice owner, the key people need to understand the why and what they want to do to try to help it. I think it has to be real. I don't think you can fake it till you make it, right? I think you gotta say this is a great idea. We are optometrists. It's sad that there aren't optometrists in eye care across the rest of the world. We can do a little bit to help that. Seems like a great idea. And then just sit down with your staff and talk about what do you all think about this? What is the good? What's the bad? What is the challenge? What can we do to start? Let the owner doesn't have to come up with all the answers. That's something I learned a long time ago. I'm really good at trying to get people that are smarter than me around me. My mom taught me that. So let them shine, give them the opportunity, because again, they wouldn't be in your practice if they didn't have a little benevolence in them. So
love it through and through. Hey, Heather, from your perspective, right? We got a doctor that's excited, that wants to do this. Okay. But also there's a lot of other moving things and responsibilities of the team and getting through the day-to-day operations. So why don't you share from your perspective, a couple of tips as being, a leader in the practice in really getting some of these tactics moving within the practice?
Yeah. Like Dr. Rice said, the why is important. So if your staff don't know the why, then they're less inclined to participate. So just explaining the reason behind it, talking about Optometry Giving Sight, all the good they do in the eye care industry. And once you have that buy-in, it's really pretty easy to get everybody involved. Everybody wants to be part of a team or, the greater good. So something that works for us is, we have committees that focus on certain projects. So, a committee that would focus specifically on Optometry Giving Sight fundraising. Your staff have all sorts of great ideas, just because I don't doesn't mean my team members don't. So just bringing people together that can brainstorm some fun things to do. For us, it was just pretty easy as far as activities, with the jeans day or the holiday dress days. Little things that you could do is like a food day, donate $5 for lunch that day. So you're not going, down the street, but it's going to a good cause. There's just all sorts of really neat ideas that you can come up with to help donate.
Love it.
Hey, Eric, I might throw out real quick, celebrate the successes as well. At the early part of this, we might have raised $150. And it's like, that's pretty awesome. That's $150 we didn't have before. And make people feel good about, like on race day. I say a little something before we get everybody out and going. And it's like, hey, look at the person next to you, pat them on the back and say, hey, thank you. Great job. You just helped someone see in the rest of the world. That makes them feel good. It's not about us. It's about making other people feel good. And I think if you do that, in your practice and outside of your practice. It all comes back to you.
Absolutely. Wow. So so impactful and so inspiring, y'all. Really, really through and through. Takeaways from that being it starts with the why. And I think something really important that Dr. Rice, you had mentioned, and Heather, you built upon is start somewhere. It doesn't have to be, I mean, obviously it's incredible what you guys have built with the 5K. But it doesn't have to be a 5K out of the blocks. It can be something very simple, but start with the why, right? Engage the team, get that stakeholder buy-in. And this is where we can think of the team as being the staff within the practice. We'd also think of the team and stakeholders as being patients, or perhaps, Dr. Rice, you mentioned that there are some other local business owners that have also really gotten on board with wanting to support the Vision Clinic 5K to raise funds for Optometry Giving Sight. I mean, really remarkable through and through. Then that other piece you mentioned, celebrate, right? I mean, it really is powerful to consider how those dollars are having profound impact on providing someone with sight. I mean, over 1.1 billion people around the world suffering needlessly from blindness simply because they don't have access to the refraction and glasses. So it's really, really powerful. I think I'd like to tap Lois to come on stage, and maybe Lois, if you could share briefly about how practices can get involved in contacting Optometry Giving Sight and really making it happen this World Sight Day.
Thank you, Eric. Happy to do that. Dr. Rice and Heather, incredibly inspiring. The lesson, the idea that start small is a great way to go. Every contribution makes a difference. If there is a practice, an OD that would like to get involved, go to givingsight.org, click on World Sight Day Challenge, and there's information there. You can also call us, you can email us. We're happy to give ideas, send you material. We will do our best to make it easy for practices and doctors to be generous.
Love it. Love it. And I know Optometry Giving Sight has a wealth of resources. I mean, truly, y'all, when Lois mentions, hey, go to givingsight.org, click the button to learn more about World Sight Day and the World Sight Day Challenge. Truly, what Lois and Nikki and the team at Optometry Giving Sight is providing doctors, their teams. And look, y'all, not only doctors and their teams, companies like Akrinos, because there's a lot of us around this industry, consultants, equipment companies, contact lens companies, tech companies. We can all get involved to have an impact on Optometry Giving Sight and providing vision to those around the world. So I think also, is it safe to say, Dr. Rice, please.
I do want to say, Heather texted me and said, it sounds like Eric wants to be a sponsor of our 5K. That's awesome.
I like the way you think, Heather.
Let's see. Missouri, if I'm not mistaken, that's just up the Mississippi River from
Not
here.
that far. Yeah, not that far away. Hey, I did want to just real quick, and I tend to be a little verbose, but I do want to say thank you very much to Heather. And Sydney had given up she's on vacation in Chicago. I think she had some connecting issues, but we cannot do what we do without them helping lead the team and do the work that they do. So I wanted to give them some chops and appreciate everything that they do. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Couldn't do it without you, Dr. Rice.
And to build on that also, folks like you, Dr. Rice, and folks like you, Heather, across the country, right? Because there are a lot of practices that are doing amazing things, growing the funds for Optometry Giving Sight to go and have that impact all around the world. And one last thing I want to toss out there. I presume Lois, Nikki, for those viewers that perhaps wanted to do something big like a 5K, perhaps Optometry Giving Sight could connect them with Dr. Rice and with Heather to learn more about those technicalities and such. So, well, y'all, what what a remarkable episode. Truly an honor to host all of you here on this episode of Access. And before we wrap up, I suppose any closing words or final parting thoughts?
Well, Eric, I want to thank you for your continued support of our organization and for the exposure that you give us to your audience. This was really an inspiring episode to hear from Dr. Rice and from Heather about their history with us and all their efforts that they put into the 5K. You guys are just incredible. And I want to say that to any of your listeners, participating in the World Sight Day Challenge is really easy. And to reiterate what Dr. Rice said about the why, and no amount is too small because every little bit helps, and everybody matters. So if you think that if you want to contribute but you think your contribution would be too small, don't think that, because you matter, and whatever you give, we appreciate, and it would make a difference. So if it's something as small as just participating on World Sight Day itself, October 10th, donating a percentage of your exams that day, your exam fees, or tacking on $1 to every pair of glasses you sold that day or throughout the month of October, little ideas like that, they will add up and make an incredible impact. So there are all kinds of ways. You can reach out to us at givingsight.org. Under Giving, there's a page for World Sight Day, and there's more information there, or you can reach out to me or any one of us, and we're really happy to help you give more ideas for any fundraising ideas. So that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Thank you so much. Dr. Rice, any closing words for your colleagues out there who are considering getting involved?
Well, first, thanks for the opportunity for us to kind of share a passion. I guess I would say, remember that it's Optometry Giving Sight. Remember that the need is just enormous, and we can make a difference. And I think that start out small and just do it, I think is it's apropos on this. The other thing I would say is that I know that everybody, if they've got a practice, they participate in lots of things, they support a lot of things, they give to a lot of causes, and we get that. We do the same. But position this as the office's international charity of choice. And that's how we have positioned it. We do lots of things locally, but this is Optometry Giving Sight is our international charity of choice. And it's pretty cool that, a small donation can make a big difference and help someone see, in another part of the world. So there you go.
Love it. Well, Dr. Rice, Heather, y'all keep doing amazing things, supporting Optometry Giving Sight. Good luck with the upcoming 5K, which I think is next month, right? What is the date for? Because I know also, Heather, you were mentioning that you guys really blow up the socials. So, hey, all of our viewers out there, if you kind of want to see this thing in action, Heather, what is the date of this year's 5K?
It is September 28th.
That's going to be September 28th. So
We'd love to have anybody that's in the area, and if you can't participate, you can sure give. So we have lots of places that you can do that. Yeah, we'd love to have you if you're passing through. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Absolutely. Well,
What time on the 28th? I'm going to put it in my calendar here.
Race starts at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Okay.
8 a.m.
But a lot of the team will be there at 6 a.m. getting things prepped, laying out the coursework, putting up signs, sponsor signs, getting all that stuff lined out. But yeah, so it takes a lot of prep. The actual race event takes less than an hour, it's well worth it. But we can't do it without lots of folks helping out.
Can I ask, do you want to do a shout out to any of the companies that are supporting the race?
Yeah, that'd be great. And I think we've got some local companies that are, but we also have, national folks like Cooper Vision and Bausch & Lomb and Essilor, Luxottica. They do contribute and support. We have just a lot of local folks. We have frame companies. Heather has probably all the list right there. You got it right there in front of you. I don't want to.
I do.
When you start naming things, you forget somebody and get in trouble.
That's okay. Yeah, a lot of frame vendors, a lot of local companies. This year we have roughly 25 sponsors.
That's phenomenal.
We have hit in just sponsorships more than we gave in total last year. So that doesn't even count for our race registrations, our raffle tickets, because on race day we actually raffle off gift baskets that local businesses have donated items for. So it's going to be big this year. But yeah, lots of sponsorships. We actually had 9 new ones this year, which is really cool.
That's fabulous.
Don't let that meek and mild appearance of Heather fool you, because I have seen her shaking people down. So
Love this.
Lots of moving pieces to this, but it sounds like you've got an amazing team there.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, y'all, on behalf of the team at Optometry Giving Sight, Lois Schonbrun, Nikki, Eric, on behalf of the team at the Vision Clinic, Dr. Stephen Rice, Heather Bauer, and the team out there, and everyone out there that's having an impact, supporting Optometry Giving Sight, having an impact, looking to get involved in the World Sight Day Challenge. And there are so many ways also. Look, y'all, we've been talking, this episode has been all about World Sight Day Challenge, but head on over to givingsight.org, because there are so many ways you can get involved, whether it be for World Sight Day Challenge or in an ongoing basis, and deploying different ways to engage your community and the profession in supporting Optometry Giving Sight. So on behalf of all of us here at Akrinos, we're wishing everyone all the best for an amazing, inspired World Sight Day 2024. Be sure to head on over to givingsight.org to learn more. And however you're getting involved in this World Sight Day Challenge, we are wishing you all the best.
Thank you, Eric.
thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great one. Take care.
Thanks, Eric.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.